Late start tonight, but nonetheless, we are here. And so today I'm here because I would like to figure out how to build like a CLI tool. And so for those of us who are familiar, especially in the Vue ecosystem, we have our Vue sort of create application, right? So if we're in my project directory, my first app, like Vue will go ahead and like, there's this gorgeous interface that allows you sort of choose what you want to do, select it, and it looks great. And this is good. I love the experience here. And the thing is, like, I would like to learn how to build one of my own. So, knowing that now, the real question ends up boiling down to how do we do this? So, one of the beautiful things about us working in open source is we can just look at the source code. So, let's see if we can find the repo for the CLI, shall we? Let's see how this works under the hood. And so, just to be totally clear, I have never done this before. Very little planning research has been done prior to this, so we are learning together. Okay, so we see here docs are here. Great, that's good. But what we want to look at is probably the packages here. Version marker. All right, here we go. So there's a couple of plugins in here. CLI init, CLI service, CLI UI. Okay. Odds are, my guess is it is in here, the CLI. And so we see that the library here does a bunch of stuff. So you know what? I think we have a better idea. I think that we're in the right place. So let's go ahead and download this, shall we? All right. So let's get clone this. Oh, I forgot. Every time I use one of my macros, it overrides what I just recently copied. So let's take a look. All right. Let's see. Let's blow this up a little bit. And all right. Great. All right. So we have our packages. Inside of Vue CLI, so this is interesting. There's even a CLI init. And so, okay, this is a simple, well, I have no idea what this does here, but this looks like this is the init file, and my initial instinct was correct in that most of it is living in here. So let's take a look at what these various things are. Let's see. Log, error, open browser, CLI shared utils. Okay, so there's a shared utils folder. Okay. Async UI, host, port, optimize, express, dev mode. All right, so I just want to build a command line tool. So let's go simpler. How about create? Create sounds good, right? Because what we want to do, so let's talk about what we're trying to solve. So the problem we're trying to solve here is that for those of you who have used VuePress in the past, you know that it has the ability to generate sort of beautiful docs, and it's great, but the starting experience is less than optimal because you basically need to compose everything from scratch. And most people have a certain scaffold they're basically looking for when getting started. And my goal here is to make it as easy as possible for people to use VuePress, and generators exist across many different kind of projects. So we want to learn how to scaffold it. So again, taking inspiration from the Vue CLI, which we all know and love, the question ends up boiling down to, well, how does that even work? How do we get it to like initialize this piece? So maybe if we're breaking down this in its simplest terms, what I'm trying to do is just find a way to run a command that generates a series of folders and files inside of a directory, right? Given an existing project. So it looks like, okay, so I've played around with enough node code to know we're doing a lot of things as far as like, so FS here, for those who haven't, basically the file system, it often allows you to do things as far as like, so here's an example, right? Like removing directory. So that basically allows you to change things like folders and files and those sort of things. And so the question here is, when you run something like create, I'm just trying to figure out like reversing engineering. Like it says that I have a create command, and the create command then takes like this directory, and that directory is what I'm going to use to like populate everything. So right, so that's like the simplest form. So if I go ahead and let's see, open my whiteboarding tool, or well, don't worry about that later. So yeah, if we take a look at right, let's go back. So we want to be able to create, and then we go from there. So there's a new creator target. Okay, so we see here that there's this creator class. So let's jump over to the creator. What does it do? It extends the event emitter, and then it does a bunch of stuff. It creates a preset. Gosh, this may be a bit complex to do immediately. All right, as much as I'd love to, okay, let's invoking generators, resolve point new generator. Yeah, there's a lot of low level node stuff going on here. So what? Let's say, let's just take a look, see if there's like a, see what kind of resources out there. CLI tools, yep. Great. Node CLI index. Okay, I remember there was actually a tool library. Node.js command line. Scaffold. Oak Cliff. Da, 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 da. I have never heard of this before. So, as we are evaluating our tools, let's take a look. Open CLI framework built by Heroku. Okay, started by 5,000 people. It's not insignificant. So, Heroku CLI, but use customized. Okay, great. That's pretty nice. A lot of good stuff here. All right, so this is certainly a contender for making something for VuePress. Also, though, I am aware that the creator of sort of Vue CLI, who's known a lot for it, is Guillaume. He released a library recently, which for some reason I am blanking on. So I'm hoping he has updated the link here somewhere. Nope, it was, gosh, I don't know why. Let's see. CLI. All right. You know what? Let's play around with this a little bit. Let's see how easy it is to work with Oak Cliff. OCLI. Yeah, Oak Cliff. All right, let's get started. If you use a single flag parser, you get commands. Okay, that seems fairly intuitive. And then npm package name. Yep. Single command. There's a multi-command. Okay. All right. So, again, coming from the Vue docs, it's always interesting seeing how other people sort of basically like sort of explain things. Okay, so let's do this. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the VuePress repo. I'm going to go ahead and check out a new branch for VuePress CLI. All right, knowing this now, let's go ahead and try this out. We have, so if we look inside the VuePress repo, we see here that there's a lot going on. There's the core library here, and then there's this VuePress directory here. Handle unknown commands. So this may have been a better actually place to start. Is it looks like actually there may already be, yeah, there's already a CLI.js. So all right, so this means we actually shouldn't be just injecting a new library in here. In fact, so we have options for the Vue theme. This is tough. Okay, we want to take a look at their commands because VuePress basically takes two commands right now. It takes dev, and then it takes your build command. And so my question, let's see, documentation generator. Yep, MIT core default, cac env-info. Okay. Tricky. So here's, okay, so util.js, wait, Chalk. So yep, for those who never built, Chalk is a node tool that allows you to basically color different tools. So CLI, before parse, after parse, wrap command. Okay, here we go. Is known command. Great. So what I can do here is insert the create command. Although I just realized I'm a bit of a sucker for alphabetical order, but I'll rearrange the other stuff later. So create comes first. I like there to be a create command inside of that. So it is now going to be a known command. We know this. And then our next piece is to figure out where handle register core command. Okay, great. So cool. Okay, there we go. CLI. Okay, this is much better. Okay, so we know that when we export this, there's going to take a function that takes the CLI itself, which I don't know what that is yet. We'll have to figure that out. And then the options. So we know a couple of things. We can very clearly see that this command, this is the dev command. It takes a target directory, which I'm assuming is a way for you to pass an argument. And then at that point, you can pass any of these options to the dev command to basically configure this. So yeah, shoot, this would really all be really should be documented somewhere. But again, one thing at a time. So we have dev, we have build, eject, info. This is great. Okay, so we have found the core thing. So let's do this. So if we want to see if this works, we can say, again, I'm going this purely based on instinct right now. So we have create, and I'm going to say target directory, or well, directory name. You know what? I'm a big fan of just spelling things out. Then people don't have to be like, what's a dir? While convention, just prefer to spell things out. It's just not that many characters, and it's just so much easier for everyone. So we'll say create VuePress scaffold. That's what this does. Okay. We're not going to worry about any options. And then, all right, so a command then takes options, and I'm seeing this action here. All right, I have no idea what that does, but we will find out, I'm sure. So action, reverse engineering this without looking at docs, we are thinking that source directory is where you start, and then you have all the options, the command options allows you to pass here. So I think we can copy this image. So we can assume that the source directory is going to be like where you are, because again, the idea here for VuePress project creation is that you're in an existing project already, and you basically want to add VuePress to the repo. You would basically want to scaffold the VuePress directories. So I realize that would be a little bit more complicated, but one thing at a time. So we have our source directory, and we will assume it's the root for now. We'll figure out that later. There are no command options, so I'm just gonna omit this, and let's see what happens. Okay. So great. Let's see what happens. So we have const logger set icon logger debug environment wrap command dev sort directory with options. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so we have to reverse engineer this a little bit. We know that wrap command is happening here. And the question is, what does wrap command do? It's from the util. All right. And wrap commands here. It takes a function, takes all the arguments, and it runs a catch on it. If there's an error, then give it a code. Chalk red. So again, like print the error stack in red. That's basically what chalk red's doing. Then you will exit with code 1. Okay. Not too bad. I understood that. So basically wrap command, I think it's interesting it's called wrap command. It would, I mean, we're basically just checking to make sure it doesn't error out. So it would almost be like try command. But anyways, we can figure out refactoring later so that it's easier for people to contribute. But we have the source directory path resolve source directory. That's fine. But it's passing in this build function, which is coming from where? Oh, okay. I think it's this. Gosh, this is actually fairly... Okay, we might need to get to the point where we're starting to get into docs. Here, there's even an info, so this is interesting. So this action here, oh, empty directory, chalk bold, environment info, and then it'll run. Okay. Show duplicates, then console log. Okay. So we can use this actually as a... Yeah, forget it. Let's not even go that. This is really action takes an anonymous function, and we're just going to log... This worked. Wonderful. Okay. So let us try to see if this works. So we can let's make sure all our dependencies are installed inside of our VuePress repo. Then we're going to go ahead and run yarn tsc, which will compile all the TypeScript stuff and just make sure everything's compiled correctly. Great. And then we're going to run this yarn register VuePress. So this is basically assuming you're familiar with how to get started with the VuePress development. So mostly, again, unless you're working on the core code, probably not going to be something you do. But in the future, I do plan on releasing guided sort of tutorials so that those who want to work on the core repository have an easier time getting started, because I know it wasn't necessarily the easiest for me. A lot of these things were not only not intuitive, but they assumed a lot of knowledge. So at a high level, just so you understand, again, yarn tsc here, nothing magical about that. So inside of package.json, basically you can see here that what it does is it uses the yarn workspace, which again, just think of it as it's scoping a certain area to do work in. It's really all it's doing. And then TSC is a TypeScript, like basically the command line tool, and will compile these shared utils because that is currently written in TypeScript. And then the yarn register VuePress that's not magic either. That's just happening right here. It's just a command as this your normal npm run script, and the difference is it uses Lerna, which helps to scope like the area, like sort of like the environment in which you're working in. So in this case, it's saying, hey, we're going to take this VuePress thing and we're going to link it, meaning allow people to link to it, meaning that when you're working on it locally, you can point to, rather than point to the npm, like remote one, you're going to actually be pointing to your local one. So now that this has been done and it's been registered, so let me go ahead and actually do it here. So I'm going to go ahead and open like a VuePress local instance that I have. And so we'll see here that just to show you that everything's working correctly, we're going to go ahead and delete all the node modules here, and we're going to wipe out this VuePress dependency. So when I run yarn, you'll see now that actually, let me just go ahead and use the terminal here so you all don't have to deal with that flickering back and forth. Um, so when I run yarn, you'll see that yarn is blank. There is no node module file. And so typically you'd want VuePress to run and then go ahead and, run the docs. But now if I run yarn link VuePress, it should link to the one that's currently the local environment. And then we can say, so if I do yarn dev right now, it should run everything correctly. So you see that now it's actually running. So even though there's no like official node module or whatever, it's actually pointing to our local project, which is pretty cool. I was pretty excited when I got this working. But what we're trying to do is get that command to work, the create, to see what happens. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna do yarn press test create. That's all I'm just gonna do. And then we're just gonna run the VuePress create docs command because this is what we ultimately want. So if I run yarn test create, hey, look at that. Our code actually worked. That's actually really exciting. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch back over and see what we did. Again, all we did was, oh, right, this is the Vue CLI one. We are done with you for now. Womp, 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 womp. Here we are. Okay, so what we've learned now is that we have a VuePress directory here already. Although I would really want to refactor this. Like this was a little bit confusing to me because I wouldn't have expected this to be like the, call it the command line tool. So in the future, I will make a note to like consider naming this to, screw it. To do rename folder to VuePress CLI for clear naming. Okay. So I'm just going to commit this small change. It's docs add task for renaming folder. Okay, great. All right, so what's really exciting is we've successfully added a new command. So it's, which is nice. But the real thing is I'm actually a little curious where the CLI is coming from because it's basically being passed in like automatically, and that's bugging me a little bit as a developer because I'm basically thinking like, okay, where is that CLI coming from? So register core components is, let's see, where is that handled? Oh, interesting. There's a CL, nope, that's not it. Maybe package.json will tell us. Is it CAC? Gosh, the naming on these things sometimes. CAC GitHub, maybe. Yep. Okay, so this is the other one. So interesting enough, this is, oh, Egos is the originator of this. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so so now we figured out what's actually powering. We figured out what powers the VuePress CLI, which is actually this CAC. So Command and Conquer, that is pretty funny. Throwback to the old, sort of a classic video game growing up, which makes me think now if I'm going to create like a library for like modals, I'll call it like RA for Red Alert or something. But nerdy humor. Given that, all right, so we know that it's a easy learn, so there's only option version help parse. Okay. Command specific dot options CLI command. Okay, that's cool. All right, here we go. So we have the command. Then we have options. So we derived that correctly. Actions can be given a callback. You can alias them. That's good. I actually have, I think aliases are a great way to account for people with different backgrounds, coding wise. I can't tell you how many front end frameworks like where it's like Some people like start with like npm run start. Some people run npm run dev. Some people npm run develop. I just think at this point, like rather than sort of forcing people into convention, like you'd have one that you recommend in your docs, like npm run dev, for example. But just for this, it's for a couple lines of code as a maintainer to just make everyone's life a bit easier. When you know that these conventions exist, it's just nice to know that whatever they're used to, they can keep using and still be productive on your framework. All right. So we know that commands console. Okay, great. Looks like it was inspired by Commander SAO. All right. All right. Well, that gives us a little bit more of an understanding of where all this stuff's coming from. All right. So now things are not so mysterious, but it was nice that we could basically sort of rework that. Okay, so now I think at this point, because we're creating files and stuff, this means we basically need to start bringing in Node, like creating Node stuff, or like creating files with Node. Folders and files with Node.js. Let's learn about this. All right. First one, fs module, fs make directory. Great. So here's part of the tricky part. So it's easy to how do I say this? So at least in my head, like we could programmatically just like individually create directories, individually create files, but like kind of what you want to do is go, okay, there's this folder structure I'm going to manage, and I'll call it like scaffold, and everything in the scaffold just like drop it in, right? So maybe that's what I need to Google instead, like Node.js scaffold directory and files. Ooh, okay, great. I'm thinking the right tools. Bum bum bum. Right sync with the bum bum bum. Okay, so we know file system, great. Make our directories generate write files sync. Yeah, but I want the text to include certain things. Yeah, this is what I so this is for those who have never worked with Node as much. As you can see here, the file system is right here. And basically you're saying like create our directories and then make sure it exists and then generate those files based on like these different things. But then what I don't like about this is that this, again, while it's great for me to like come up with this stuff, I think many of us have experienced that thing where like when you sort of dropped into a project, you do want the ability for it to give you some sort of starter boilerplate. So we know that VuePress has a lot of default things that come with the theme. So for example, I'd like to make it easy for people to make modifications to the default theme without having to dig through the docs. Like it should be fairly straightforward. Let's see, create files automatically and save time with magic scaffolding. Great. Yep. Uh-huh. All right, so in this case, this author is talking about creating a React component with these three things every single time. So, oh dear. Test name, SAS 2 lowercase, background, initial. FS, yep, file. Drop it in if it exists. Okay, so we're going to need to catch that at some point, but that's fine. Let's figure this out. File exists, chokedar. I have had some fun with this. So this is watching stuff, replace. That doesn't help me. Make some files. FS for each write, file name. Gosh. I think this would be easier. Like yeoman style scaffolding tool. Okay, so it looks like corporal helps with this as well, but again, for the sake of not trying to rebuild everything that already exists, we do want to try to make it using CAC. So I'm just curious what the strategy is. So again, building a template, node, default directory. Okay, this is good. So you can do a default one. Great. Where's the JS? Oh, okay. Solid. Oh, this is good. Okay, this is fairly low level, which means we can actually leverage this for our own use, hopefully. Version command, argument, option, create, great, importing dependencies, setting variables. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a lot going on here. So, again, as developers, it's easy to get overwhelmed and sort of like go way too far. So, one thing at a time. What we want to do is successfully. Let's start with the simplest thing, which is let's actually create fs equals require. So it looks like we have fs extra. And so for those wondering what fs extra is, let's talk that through a little bit. So again, the file system module that comes in Node.js gives you basically some basic functionality to create things. But fs extra, from what I understand, actually is sort of more of the go-to for this kind of thing, because it just thinks through things and creates like an API that's a little bit more intuitive. So you can see here now that like you can just sort of copy, then do this and copy these things. And so why not do it that way? So the first thing we're going to want to do, so yeah, this is always the thing I had yet to really figure out, is that when you create things, you can create things whether sync or async. I don't have any particular background on why you should use one or the other. Basically, I'm assuming that if you need things to be done serially or you need to wait for data, then async. But I don't see most methods are async by default. Okay, that's fine. All right, so what we want to do then is let's talk about what we want in a standard sort of VuePress directory, right? So let's talk about this. We want to do, all right. So we want to create a docs folder. Oh, interesting. Actually, I do want them to be able to specify the name, so I will give them that. So target directory is here. Does that mean that I automatically get target directory in here? That's what I don't understand. How is that actually being passed? Wrap command, CLI action, then do this. Debug action directory. Okay, oh. Wow, that is not intuitive. All right, so what I think I figured out is this directory name actually is, I'm going to do this just to be clear. I'm going to log dir name. Okay. So now, assuming I did things correctly, let's go ahead and jump on over here. So if I do yarn test create, they should print out 2 level. Yeah. Wow, not intuitive. Okay, so in case you're wondering what I figured out, the bottom line is that this directory name is a variable that like you can name it whatever the heck you want, but like ultimately it's gonna be passed in here. So I am just, gosh, you would think you would just make them. Okay, not gonna comment on that. All right, directory name, great. So now that I save this, for the sake of not jumping between windows like that, which I can imagine would probably get nauseating after watching this for a while. Oh wait, I want a local. Great. All right. Also, let me do one more thing. I'll switch. I'm not gonna bother creating. Oh right. We're gonna go ahead and switch this out to create dragons. All right. So now if I run yarn create, whoops. Oh right. Yarn link VuePress. Great. So yarn create. Did I mess something up? I think I did. Let's see. Yarn create. Oh, did not like that. It's something about yarn test create. Okay, like that. Okay, so we've confirmed, we have figured out. We figured out that that's how that piece works. So great, directory name gets passed into the action, then you can use it. So knowing that now, we can go ahead and use our file system to create our make directory. I don't know what the difference is, but anyways, we're gonna make a directory and it's gonna be called after the directory name. Okay, and then we'll say you know what? Let's learn how to use that chalk function. Chalk bold. Great. So I can say log yarn create is a very different function. Ah, you're totally right. Thank you, Doug. Yeah, I figured that's what it was. Okay, so we're console logging. Again, that's chalk green, and we're gonna create successfully created directory 4. And I just realized I didn't use ES6 template literals, so now I need to swap that and then directory name. Awesome. So now when we are here, we can do our yarn test create again. And so huzzah, you can see now that our chalk green swapped our text out for green text. Great. And if we look, hey, look at that. We created a little dragon directory. Sweet. So again, this is what's tricky. Again, we can programmatically create it, but for the sake of the work, really what inside the sort of VuePress CLI folder, we really want of this templates, this templates directory. And then inside of the templates directory, basically, for the sake, I did like that blog post sort of approach that like in the event we have other templates we want to do in the future, what it is. So for now, I'll call it the docs. No, this is really the default mode. This is the default template. And so inside the default template, we basically, once they scaffold the docs, we have a couple of things, right? We would have a README folder, a README file. So it'd be like my VuePress site. Again, let's keep it as simple as that. What else do we want? We want the ability to have a .vuepress directory. And inside of here, we'll have our config.js, module.exports, and then again, so to do include default theme configurations, right? So this is basically, we want to copy everything in default into this directory. And so, yeah, I'm not sure how feasible this is, but ideally we're saying like, okay, let's, again, so I successfully created the docs folder, great. But really what we want to do now is copy. So we want to create the directory, which we succeeded. Then once we do that, we want to copy folders and files in templates default into new directory. That is what we are trying to do. And so this is where I think the async piece comes in directory wise. So as far as that goes, so again, file system extra provides you with ability to copy things and then do things. So temp my files. So I wonder if copy is recursive, because that would make my life a lot easier. For those that haven't done this a lot, basically, when you copy things at the terminal level, it really is only copying like usually like the one directory. And so recursive allows you then go deeper and deeper and deeper. And so it looks like copy then, great, sure. Oh wait, copy success, well, doesn't hurt to try at this point. So we've created the directory. This may not work exactly as I think it is. So, oh, this seems so dangerous. Whatever. So, really don't like this, but okay, fine. So the sentiment I'm trying to get here is we're going to take everything in default, right? And I think, yeah, they didn't put a backslash. Okay. And I want to copy it into this new directory. I really don't think this is going to work. Partially because I think we need to fetch the project path at this point. Yeah, I'm pretty sure about this. But let's just go for broke because that's what we do, right? That's how we learn. So this is probably not going to work at all, but that's okay. So we have this great success message, and then we're going to try to log this. And just for fun, we're going to call this blue, and we're going to say, did it work? All right, here we go. Yarn test create. Yep. Okay, that's cool. Oh, okay. So this is true. We need to check for existing directory. So that's like a whole workflow that I'm not even going to bother working with right now. For the sake of not switching between things, let's go ahead and add this VuePress local to our workspace. So we have our VuePress here, and why is this looking for things? And then we have our VuePress local. So let's delete dragons. Great. And let us try again. Whoa, what just happened here? Okay, terminal. Don't do anything. Okay, so created it. No such file directory. Okay, stat templates default. Yeah, that's okay. So okay, so our next block is that what we want to do is we want to reach into the libraries, this sort of folder that I've created, and like take it out and copy it all the way into the local file. Yep. That, if anyone has clues on that, love to hear them. But in the meantime, let's see, template path. So this person copies the file. What is this template path that they're pulling out? Okay. Oh, dir name. Okay. Yep. This is a convention I've seen before, which Doug, do you have a specific library in mind? Part of the constraints I'm working with right now is that I'm working inside of this command and conquer library. So part of, I don't know, call it the fun of this is trying to figure out how to work within these constraints. I know there are like yeoman scaffolding tools for this thing, but it was sort of, yeah, just sort of a way to learn about it. Um, but yeah, I would love, if you have specific ones you have in mind, definitely please let me know. I was going to dive into more the CLI version to see what they do for scaffolding, but um, the code was just a little complex, and that I think needs a deeper dive on another time. So, although on the upside, we have successfully added commands to the VuePress CLI, and now it's just a matter of how we want to do it. Because again, we could be very programmatic in how we build out those directories. Because again, our goal here really is to provide this default template project for people in a general kind of way. So given that, what the hey? Let's do it a little bit manually right now before doing it the ideal way. So we know that we can create a directory here, but then here we can also create a file, and again, readme.md, and then, well, actually, what arguments does it take? Let's see. Doesn't say. So let's learn about the create file. That wasn't it. Do. Async copy empty dir. Oh, right. These are the new ones. Move sync, output file sync, path exist sync. I'll have to dive into those later. Create file. Bum. Yep. File name, content, fallback function. Okay. So, gut was right. So readme.md, and then we're just gonna test out the inside, and we're just gonna say my first VuePress project. I'm gonna go that deep, and the only thing though is this is the file name, but I'd like to do it inside of this directory. And why do I have a feeling? Well, let's just see what happens. All right, so we're gonna check successfully create directory, and then let's do that. So let's successfully create readme file. And let's go with yellow. Yarn tests. Oh, right. RM, RF, dragons, and then yarn test create. Okay, cool. We have an error. Oh, right. You're still trying to copy dir. Okay, we don't have this yet, so that's okay. We are not worried about that right now. But it did create that dragon directory again, so I should probably just right away for us to automatically override. But one thing at a time. Okay, so it created a directory, but it says callback is not a function. Yep, didn't create anything in here. Why is it saying that? Yep. Not crazy about the way those docs were styled. No worries, Doug. Yeah, I haven't done as much work with Node.js, so part of this is a bit of a learning experience for me as far as like just getting more comfortable understanding how like Node does the writing of files and copying too. Okay, so again, we're back. Require file system. That's what? Okay. Oh gosh. Yeah. So for those that haven't, this was one of the things that always scared me way earlier on. Was that you had to do these things where you like created streams and close them, and again, like when you started getting more low level programming, there's like you have to consider these sort of like a lot like data types and bytes and encoding and coming from the front end world where you don't usually have to worry about that. It can be a little bit like, oh my gosh. So again, it's a read file. Can I really just I just wanted an ability to write a file. Gosh, I miss the VDocs. Fs. Create file. Nope. I know that's the official docs, but it's just like it's gotta be simple. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this is promising. Great. Okay. In an asynchronous way, write file method to a file replacing file if it already exists. Great. File path, file content, callback. Okay, sure. Maybe this is like what I'm missing. What the hey? Let's just. So we have a callback for the error. What was it? You know, if the error exists, throw error. Like, sounds great. Otherwise, log this. Okay, I'm totally on board with this. Let's take a look. Nope, didn't like it. Okay. This is weird. Why does it not like it? File. Oh, file already exists. What? Did I override something? Nope. Where did it create it? Oh, it did something. It created it inside of. Oh, I got myself excited for no reason whatsoever. This is my default directory that I had created already, so that's not what I wanted at all. I'm just gonna. I'll remember that. I'll temporarily wipe this out. That's no fun though. It says that my VuePress local should already have it, but again, I don't see anything to the contrary that would show that it successfully wrote it. So that's no bueno. Create the file. That's so interesting. So again, the CLI already knows you're in the root. So, oh, right. No, wait. This makes sense because it's in the root directory, right? So meaning it needs to actually go further down. So, gosh, let's try this. Dragon / readme, giving it an actual path. But the argument did say file name, so this will be a little weird if it works. That would not have been, wait. Yeah. Delete the dragons folder. All right. And then let's test create. So it successfully creates the dragon folder. That's not the problem. We'll see here, dragons exist. Hey, wait. Oh, that is, that is progress though. Yeah, so the dragons directory is fine. It's just, you know, this is getting a little bit annoying, but it is, can you, how do you force override? Fs make directory force overwrite. Do. That did not help me. Node.js. Bum. All right, doesn't seem like it's that recursive true. To make sure, and will not throw an error. All right, what the heck? I'm just gonna test this out real quick, and I did notice that that said sync. So let me just throw this option real quick. So I can stop deleting the dragons folder. Okay, great. So now if all goes well, if I delete this here and we run yarn test create again. Hey, okay, that's starting. Gosh, that is not intuitive in a sense because, again, for anyone encountering me for the first time or not familiar with my work, I do a lot with, currently do a lot of work with the docs team on Vue. And so I'm big on making things as intuitive as humanly possible. So again, just to think about the create, whoops, can't spell. So when I first learned about the create file, which of course is not in here. Yeah, you'll see that they say file name, but really it's the path with the, anyways. Womp, womp, womp. Okay. It successfully creates it, but it doesn't actually pass in the content, which is throwing me off, like, significantly. I don't know why this is happening. And so again, it's weird that the FS module here, oh, this is version 14 though. I want to go to version 12. Great. Nope. Rename. Gosh, that's annoying. Is this a part of file extra? Node fs extra. That's fine. I'm good with this, but then why is the create file not documented well? That's bonkers to me. Yeah, version 12, Node.js, file system. This is the FS module. Require, yup, unlink sync, fine. But you're telling me you have this create file method I can theoretically use, but doesn't not document anywhere. Gosh. I don't think you need to create it before you write to it. I think you do write file sync. Okay. VuePress docs. Right. So, I mean, what I'm hearing is I don't theoretically need this callback. I don't think you need to create. Well, oh, wait. You're saying write fs, write file sync. Oh, interesting. Okay, you're saying I can actually just do this? Oh. Fascinating. All right, let's give that a whirl, shall we? Uh-huh. Okay, this is interesting. So what we have here is dragons. Hey, okay, it successfully took in. Very cool. All right, thank you very much, Doug. Gosh. But here's the interesting part is that write file sync then clearly doesn't have this sort of third callback argument that I think is being passed. So I wonder, is it then, no, this is write file sync. So then that would explain why it's not actually logging anything because it's doing it in sync. So we can therefore assume if it gets to here, we should now redo this. Might throw an error. Oh, good. It's actually created the README. Okay. Not too shabby. Bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, great. That's exciting. All right. So we've talked about this. So again, we are at this point, low level, we are creating based on whatever directory they want. We are creating we're creating directory, writing files to it with the desired content. It gets the extension that you want, which is great. And so, yeah, with that said, I think, let's see, a couple of ways we can do this. One of the things that I always find challenging sometimes when coding is that you have this like perfect solution in mind. Like I showed earlier, I did like the templates folder. You theoretically just want to copy it straight out. But again, something is better than nothing right now. So what we want to do is make it easier for people to then, really it's about configuring the folder, basically creating like a sample starter kit. And so that reminds me, I actually did this a while ago because I was personally tired of having to basically start from scratch every single time. And so I came up with, I had this project that I created at one point. And so actually, let's see. So a couple of things we had the README. I want to look at the raw. Right. So this is what's a little tricky now. So I wonder if this will do this well. So using template literals, maybe we can format our content a little bit. This is super ugly. Very clear. This is not, we are not keeping it this way. We are just trying to see if this works. Okay, and it sort of worked. It kept all the indentations, so that says a little something to like, we'll need to figure out the formatting. So let's do this again. Yarn create, great. If we look at the README file, it looks better, but it has this weird, okay, got it. Weird line. So that is happening because of this. So I guess this is, well, can we do triple? I forgot. I thought there was a way of doing this, but maybe I'm wrong. It's just, oh, this looks so ugly, but I just like, I have to like do everything I can not to like revolt and disgust at how ugly this looks. Okay, there we go. We've successfully copied in the front matter. Not loving the programmatic generation of it, but again, we can figure out these pieces later. Okay, so that's fine. Let's at least make this a little bit better as far as like making it just slightly more programmatic. So we have our directory name here. Great. So we now know that one, you're going to go ahead and create the directory, which we've done. And then we have now actually accomplished this piece, which is create homepage with basic default theme features. Like this is what it is. Ugly, yes, but it does work. Partly, I think we need, anyways, don't optimize right now. Oh, the optimization call is super strong. Okay, so we created the README file. Then I said, once we do that, then let's go ahead and fs, make directory. And this time we're going to create the, let's see. Yep, okay. Now we're going to go ahead and, oh, this is going to get annoying real fast. Okay, so we're going to, so const root path, well, I'll call it scaffold path for now, is going to be this directory name. That's what it's always going to be. And then we're going to scaffold path slash, yes, this will be the easiest thing. So we're going to do it here. Great. And then now we will scaffold the path here. And then I want a .VuePress directory. And then we're going to use our write file sync, which Doug very kindly alerted us to. So we will also, again, these can be extrapolated into variables later. But we want to do this config.js thing. So again, already seeing repetition here, but one thing at a time. So knowing this, it comes with the default config for VuePress. Again, while it's honestly not too bad to navigate once you understand what's going on, that's part of the problem I have with it, is that it expects you to know what's going on. And you just have to like go for it. So again, pains me to do this, but we know here that this is going to be our module.exports, and oh man, that hurts. So ugly. Okay, yep. So that should now create a config.js. And yeah, let's just see. So this create the README file. All right, we did. It's funny, it thinks that this is yellow. To me, that's like a lime green, but that's the, I'm gonna go ahead and now do the blue, although I'm pretty sure this is wrong because I didn't close something off. Nope, right file sync to, yeah, this should just work. Granted, I'm getting errors. Great. Yarn test create. Oh, did not like it. No such directory. .dragon slash .vuepress slash config. That's interesting. Oh, I got it. Okay, well, nope. Nope, that doesn't make any sense to me. So again, let's figure out why. I thought I replicated what we did before. We created the VuePress directory, I thought. Here, fs.makedir. Oh, makedir sync, that's why. Yep, these are the tricky parts of working with the file system at the Node.js level. Did not like that either. What's the problem? File already exists. Oh, right. Okay. This is good. This is a start. Again, so now we can, similar to above, we're just going to do the recursive true piece. Oh, man. The ugliness of the sea of lime green on my screen. Not good. Didn't like that either. Chalk purple. Oh, wait, what? You have red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Like, really? I'm curious now. Node.js chalk colors. They have magenta, but they don't have purple. What? Oh, I guess. It's just you would think that creating like something like chalk, and again, anyways, that's neither here nor there. Fine. Magenta. You apparently can change the background color, I just learned. Hey, look at that. Magic. Okay. Success. We have a config. Gosh. Okay, and hey, all right. So VuePress local now has a great, and so if I look at the package.json and instead of dev docs, we're going to dev dragons. Now when we run yarn dev, if everything works correctly, we have, hey, a starter. Oh, that makes sense. Sure. Okay, so funny enough, with that said, we actually successfully went from having no scaffolding feature into having something. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna need to be curious to see how opinionated it needs to be. It does seem like, I don't know. I'm of the opinion that when it comes to scaffolds, you kind of want to let people easily see the things they want to copy. So, for example, the fact that like they see a section here and they see drop down and how to get to this stuff. Ideally you'd want to like go into here, you're like VuePress local and be like, oh, like I'm looking for, and it should be like, you're like, oh, I really like this section idea. And granted, this has a lot of stuff going on, but then you could see that clearly there's this section here and it already shows you examples of how to modify the drop down like super easily. Um, so I think clearly part of like the work is to make sure that these pieces are clearly named so that it's easy to search, and then people can like will either choose to swap it out or just remember that like this is possible. I think that's really the big thing when I think of scaffolding is letting people, one, get up and running really quickly, but then number two, like giving them inspiration, because it can be a lot whenever you're working with any new tool. And so, especially for something like VuePress, which is really a documentation generator, I think it's really important that you make it easy for your users to see what's possible. Especially because again, all you're really building is a website, and so whether it's including little snippets of like what is possible. So again, I think for the sake, let's see how we're doing on time. We are okay, getting close on time. So let's close up with demonstrating what my thoughts are here. So we look at this VuePress starter kit that I created a long time ago. So this thing is a bit out of date at this point, to be honest. Oh, that does not look good. Yep. So funny enough, the older versions of VuePress have this weird like something about the dependencies weird. So I've realized this at one point. You have to switch to Node 10 to get it to work, which kind of sucks. I really should either upgrade those templates or delete them. But as you can see, everything works now magically, apparently. Okay. So 81. So you can see here. I created this to make it easier for people to know, like, hey, this is your footer. This is where you can update it. You have these columns. Call to action. See what a basic H1 looks like. Your H2, H3. But more importantly, when you go into your sections, you can look at what it's like with a sidebar. See more content. See the fact that the sidebar is updating. And then inside of your content, you can go to external links, so you can see that they automatically have that. You can even have like components inside of this, although I think this will be a bit much. I don't plan on scaffolding a component inside of someone's docs. That would be pretty annoying, I think. But this is good because then people can immediately start to test and see the searching work immediately. But then there are other snippets like custom containers, which I think are really great. Line syntax highlighting, like you name it. The more we can give people something to start with and just like see something working, I think the better it is. And to be totally honest, it may even be valuable to give a little bit of opinion. So in the case of this, like we didn't even enable some of the cool things about VuePress, like the fact that it can say when it was last updated, how you can edit this page directly. So giving people that guidance and just to be like, oh, where does this label come from? How does this repos happen? I think would be super useful to people when it comes to like just giving that. Again, I really think it's about inspiration. Once people see it and they realize it's possible and it's really just a few lines of code, I think you immediately encourage people just basically to do the right thing because it's just that easy to do. And so given that, we have some work to do to sort of tighten this up a little bit, but this is really exciting because while, this is a lot of the reasons why, when talking with, wait, what happened? Wait. You tell. Great, here. Okay. The fact that we were able to get into the VuePress core, and again, it's not as fancy as we'd like right now, as I've expressed discussed multiple times, like jamming, like just like files inside of a JS file, like all this content, not great. My first instinct is probably to just, again, have like this templates directory inside that like we can basically import and copy the contents of it, and then hopefully that would work as far as keeping the contents like formatted properly, because again, the last thing you want is just like a ball of string on someone's terminal. But if we can do that, then we can, this is not as simple as like a copy and whatnot, but I mean, it gets the job done. So isn't that ultimately what we want? This is really your 0 to 1 functionality. And then, there's probably a couple key things, like you don't want to automatically override someone's sort of directory in the event they already have a docs. Maybe they want to do like a docs v2. So, not only do we want to check for the existing directory, I mean, this is maybe debatable, but you want to give them the chance to override. If like directory exists, give option to override. So that's like really the big question of what to do there. But we are that much closer to getting a simple scaffolding tool up. So that's really exciting. With that said, happy that we were able to get to the end and get something working. For those who kind of want to just download this or even play around, I'll make sure to push this up as a branch to the VuePress VuePress repo. So if you go to github.com/Vue.js as VuePress, you should. That's a lot. Okay, that's big. You should be able to. There'll be a branch in there for. Oh wait. Anyways, so for like a VuePress CLI. So, with that, thanks for those who joined me today. Doug, really appreciate your insights on this and just having someone to talk with. That's always super helpful with these pairing sessions. So, with that, thanks everybody for joining. And so this is something I'm planning on doing basically every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I'll try to post like a schedule, content going forward, and then for those who don't have a chance to check this out later, I will try to get these uploaded to YouTube as well, just to be like probably a bit more condensed, since some of it during a live streaming you're kind of like hemming and hawing. So I'd like to cut that down a bit for the YouTube channel. But otherwise, thanks, Doug. Really appreciate it. I will talk to everyone later. Good night.